Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
What's up, everyone? Jin here with the Otakuology Podcast with my bestest buddy in the world and co-host, Otaku Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
I feel like we need fireworks. Too bad my neighbors aren't like shooting them off closer because I can hear it all around me every time. Every time they do it, and I'm like, I wonder if we'll catch any of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
If you're new to Otakuology,
so let me ask you a question real quick.
what?
Are we in a bromance?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So anyway, guys, I had to throw that in there for y'all because you can go to our website, which Mike will tell you about here in a second, and you can buy Otakuology stickers and other paraphernalia. Take it away, Mike.
We have stickers and shirts at spreadshop.com/Otakuology Podcast. But if you're new here to Otakuology, we are a podcast that talks about anime, manga, comics, and movies. But yeah, we just started a merch store. If you want to go check it out, that's cool. We're not going to beat you over the head with it and say, hey, go buy our shit, because that's not what we're all about. We're just doing it for fun, and stuff. If you want to go buy a bumper sticker, that's cool,
That's true. That is true, and I do feel like part of our ones that have mine and Mike's little chibi heads on it are actually quite hilarious with some of the sayings that we've picked up through the show.
I have to say, there is one shirt up on the store. I don't know how many of those I'm going to actually make because I have to actually design them myself.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a pain to design. And it takes time.
Stay tuned. We'll talk about shirt designing.
Which that's the whole thing. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about that. I am not here to talk about that because honestly,
we were just here to make y'all aware of that.
Honestly, that's so far out there. I'm just looking to put out a really good show for the people who enjoy listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not money hungry. Money is like, this podcast is like, if it earns money, it earns money. I don't really give a shit type of thing,
Yeah.
But I'm not being like, I need you guys to go buy my shit because I need money.
Well,
I have a job.
Well, I need them to go buy just the Otakuology sticker for support because I want to have one of those moments where I go to the store and somebody goes, your voice sounds really, really alike, and then they pull out their laptop or something and our stickers on there. I can be like, oh, I know who that is.
Oh, you're gonna go to the store and somebody's gonna pull out their laptop.
Yeah, something with their sticker on it.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, today
hey, they could put it on their laptop.
I mean, I guess so. I don't even know what the quality of these stickers are. So if these stickers don't come out good, because Jin ordered some of the stickers, if they don't come out in good quality, I think I might shut the store down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to put product out there that's not good quality.
I think I might cry if they're not that good.
If they're not good, I will close the store down and I'll be like, sorry. I don't want people to spend their hard-earned money on shit that I won't even put on my car or something like that, or a shirt I wouldn't wear. I want a good, decent quality shirt.
Yeah.
I don't want, or a sticker. I don't want shitty products with our names attached to it.
So, yeah, and if you're anybody that listens to the podcast and you have an Etsy store or something where you actually know how to do that stuff and can either let us know or
let us know. Give some
tips. You would like to see if maybe we could use your store on Etsy to sponsor us that way. We can work something out. But anyway.
Or you can just give us tips and tricks.
That's true too.
Whichever
one you
prefer.
Anyways, what we're talking about tonight.
We are talking about
Godzilla.
No, we're talking about Ultraman
Oh
Volume
shit.
1.
Oh shit, I got the wrong memo. Fudge.
I mean, if you want to watch that new Godzilla anime that came out, we can do that too.
No, because if we cover somebody else besides Ultraman, I think it'll have to be a Gamera.
But I mean, like, the show's not that long, so.
Gamera.
Anyways, we are talking about Ultraman Volume 1, story by Shimizu
Ichi.
and Ichi Shimizu, and art by Tomo, Tomohiro Shimagaki. Shimaguchi. Is it Shimaguchi?
Shimuguchi.
Shimaguchi. God,
Yeah,
I'm bad at this.
Shimaguchi.
Shimaguchi.
Love it. Hey, you should make some stickers where it's you trying to pronounce the people's names. This is how Mike said it. You want those stickers because this would be the best thing that you could get. But this is how it's really said over here.
Anyways, if you don't know who these two are, they are famous for creating a little known series called Line Barrels of Iron. Have you ever watched or read that manga
I've
or
never
anime?
read or
You
watched
know,
that manga or anime.
have you ever heard of that?
No.
I watched it back in college. It's okay. That's all I'm going to say about it.
It's just okay.
And they also created the 5-volume series Get a Robo Devolution, which is an awesome manga.
Hey, I know what Get a Robo is.
Yeah. But
I won't
this
tell you
manga
how I know
is
about that.
because I talk about it.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyways, this manga was created all the way back in 2011. And as of right now, it has 16 volumes out for it. But
What?
I think only 15 in the US.
Yeah. So
And,
let me throw this at you real quick.
uh-huh.
So almost everything that I've seen from like the old shows and whatnot
Mm-hmm.
kind of almost depicts Ultraman as like a Power Ranger, but they classify him since he changes himself as like a kaiju. What do you
Yeah,
think about?
he grows big.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Should he be classified as like a Power Ranger or a kaiju?
Well, I believe he's classified as Super Sentai esque. I mean, he could be classified as both.
He's just in the middle. That's what connects the universes.
The genres off for the comic. It says science fiction, superhero, and Tatsunoko. And Tatsunoko is like Super Sentai.
Okay.
So
The
there's
more you
that.
know. I didn't know that. That's what
Yeah.
that meant.
So, anyways, this is a sequel manga to the original 1966 television show called Ultraman. And it is published by Viz Media, and it is published under their Viz Sig line. Jen, what is the Viz Sig line?
The Vis signature line.
Yeah.
It's like they're like ones that they want to. Actually, don't ask me that question because I'm just having a brain fart right now.
It's usually for more
Ad-
it's their
ad-
prestige format kind of.
yeah.
And it's more of a older reader uh um who consume that manga particularly
Right.
because Gundam Thunderbolt is under that, Fire Punch is under that line, and No Gun's Life is under that line as well.
Oh, the more you know. I didn't know Nogan's life was under that line too.
Yeah, No Gun's Life is under that line, and I think Hell's Paradise is under that line as well.
I knew that one.
As well as anything that is Naoki Urasawa, those are all under Viz Sig signature line.
Right.
And like Asadora, 20th Century Boys, Pluto, Monster, Fist of
Which
North.
which I think Dorohedoro is under it too.
Yes, Doridoro is under that as well. Yes, as well as Fist of the North Star is under that line as well. So if you see Viz Sigs, those are the taller mangas They're bigger, and they usually come with color pages, which is really cool.
Maybe Viz signature is supposed to mean like you're old, like used. Like how Bibles and stuff used to come in big print for old people.
Well,
Maybe that's why these ones come bigger, is for us
I
old
don't know,
people.
but I love the Viz signature line.
I did too. I feel like they look pristine.
They look very nice, and they come with color pages, and a lot of the stories are really good.
That's true. Very true.
Anyways, let me read off the back of this book, and we can get right into this manga. Decades ago, a being known as the Giant of Light joined with Shin Hayata of the Science Special Research Party, man, that's a mouthful, to save the Earth from an invasion of terrifying monsters called kaiju. Now, many years later, those dark days have faded into memory, and the world is at peace. But in the shadow, a new threat grows, a danger that can only be faced by a new kind of hero, a new kind of Ultraman. Bum.
You know the weird thing in these
What?
color pages? I was looking at it too.
Yeah,
So it almost says exactly what you said, but it's a little different. It's kind
yeah,
of weird. This is the beginning of a new age, and
uh-huh.
it says once there was a being known as the Giant of Light,
Yeah,
who merged with an Earthling and saved the planet countless times from acts of chaos and destruction caused by alien invasions and giant creatures called kaiju.
uh-huh. Wait, what
Eventually,
did I say?
that's basically what you said on the back.
Okay.
And then it says, eventually, the Giant of Light fulfilled his mission and returned to his home deep in space. The Earthling lost all memory of the pairing and returned to life as a normal human.
Yeah. Can I just say?
It's weird, though.
Can I just say? These color pages are beautiful.
Oh, yeah. So anybody that picks this up and reads it, so my favorite one on here is actually the one where he's standing on the star statue.
Oh yeah, he's like crouched down on it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like somebody could almost like paint him
That
in like
looks.
somebody could almost paint him in like
Uh-huh.
Captain America colors and be
That
like,
looks very like Batman esque or like
it
Spawn
does.
or like Spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like raining, I think, and there's like water dripping off of him. And he's like looking all gloomy and dark and
Wait. Sir, are you looking at that page?
yeah.
Okay, look at it. I'm about to say something. You ready?
What?
Is that Harvey Dent? I'm gonna kick his ass. I mean, looking at the picture, you could almost imagine him saying something like that, like under his breath,
Probably,
like Batman would.
probably.
I'm gonna kick his ass.
Anyway, so our manga starts out with a young boy named Shinjiro, and Shinjiro loves Ultraman. He is at the Science Special Research Museum looking at this diorama of Ultraman fighting this kaiju as this young lady proceeds to talk about Ultraman. And Shinjiro's like, I know Ultraman. Ultraman was cool and he saved the world and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, you know Ultraman? She's like, yeah, my dad was part of the science research party. And you see these picture of his dad. He's like, oh, that's cool. Which one was his dad? Your dad? And he points to him, and she's like, oh, that's my dad right there, you know? And then we get an old friend of his dad's who shows up. His name is Ida, right? His name's Ida.
Uh,
His name's Ida, correct? I believe it is.
I believe so. Yeah.
Chief Ida, who was also a part of the science team, and now he's a big higher up in the government uh, system. I don't remember exactly what he exactly is, but he and Hayata begin to reminisce about the good old days of being in the science research party group. And as they're doing that, Shinjiro wanders off and he falls off a 3-story building.
Right. In the thing
Yeah,
inside.
inside the museum, Shinjiro falls off like the third story of this platform. And they're like,
Right.
"Oh my god!" They're like, "Oh my god, he's dead!"
He's gonna die.
Little do they know is that Shinjiro is somehow okay. He doesn't have a scratch on him, but
Right. And besides that being the weird part, there's nothing that they find odd about it. But then you have Ida basically bring it up to Hayata, who freaked out about the incident, and basically bent a
wait,
steel
no. That's later. That's later. We're not even got that part yet.
the steel railing.
We're not that part yet. Ida, Hayata takes Shinjiro home with him, and he talks to his wife. He's like, Shinjiro's okay. He fell and he didn't get hurt, just like last time. So apparently something's happened before where Shinjiro hasn't got hurt.
Yeah.
And he goes to talk to
Ida.
Ida, and he's like, Ida, look, I don't remember anything about what happened to us between the science research party. And he's like, oh, you must have amnesia or something like that, And he's like, no, I don't. I just can't remember. Well, technically he does have amnesia, but
Right.
this is where he bends the steel grating on the
Yeah.
like the side of a wall. And he's like, please explain this to me, like rips it off.
Right.
And what happens next?
Then he kind of like confronts him a little more about kind of, I guess, almost like a dream state of things.
Yeah.
And he kind of confronts Ida about it, saying, "Was I Ultraman before?"
Yeah, and then Ida is like, look, come here. I will explain things to you, but I need to show you something. And he's like, okay. And he takes him into the secret part of the museum. And he's like, I thought this place was decommissioned, turned into a museum. And he's like, no. Ida's like, no, this was
museum's just a front.
Yeah, the museum is just a front, and it's still all been always operational. We just kept things from you for your own good, so people wouldn't find out of what really happened back in the day.
Right? Probably to give him a normal life too.
Yeah. Actually, I believe that's what they say, because if things got out of what happened exactly with what the events with what happened with Ultraman originally,
right?
They were like he would be experimented on and stuff like that. So Ida shows Hayata some footage of a plane crashing, and he's like, okay, I heard about that. It was a malfunction on a plane. But he's like, what if I told you, Ida says, what if I told you that was a cover-up and this is what actually happened? What happens, Jin?
He pulls up these pictures from the plane crash, from the wreckage on the inside, basically, of it, hidden in the smoke, and there is another person that kind of looks like an Ultraman.
Yeah, and this is where Ida collapses on the ground, and he gets all of his memories back. And he learns...
Hayata.
Oh, Hayata, sorry. Hayata, I get them confused. They both look alike. They're both old guys.
You guys are old.
Hayata collapses on the ground, gets all of his memories back. He finds out that he was the original host for Ultraman while Ultraman was on Earth.
Yeah.
Back in the original TV show.
He inherited the Ultraman factor.
The Ultraman factor, yeah.
Isn't there another hero or something that has something called like something factor?
Something like that. I can't remember exactly.
The Super Soldier Serum.
It's really hard. It's really hard to say. But what happens? What happens next, Jin? After we get this revelation that this is connected to the original series,
right? So we jump into the future.
Yeah,
I mean, we've already kind of jumped into the future because he was already an old man, but now we jump like
It's
another
like
12.
yeah, it's 12 years. It's 12 years. So what happens?
Then we found I can't remember the son's name.
It's Shinjiro.
Shinjiro.
Yeah, Shinjiro. He
So we have Shinjiro, and basically he climbs up to the top of this building and is like standing on the edge. I
Mhm.
assume maybe he thinks that life is bad and jumps, or at least that's what we think happened.
yeah.
But he's actually testing his limits. So he jumps from the very corner of this building across the street, and we get this kind of perfect, like, Neo Matrix thing of can you jump the buildings? Or
It's
can you
kind of
take the jump? You know?
you know what it reminds me of?
What?
This part reminds me of like the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, really?
Like when he's like jumping, like when you in the Avengers movie when he
Yeah.
like jumps from building to building. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, yeah. Or, I mean, like the old Hulk movies where he,
Yeah,
he's jumping from, like, it almost seems like mountain to mountain. Whew.
yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, this one reminded me of the Matrix, where Neil's trying to, uh, he's trying to jump across the thing,
Yeah,
and he falls, and it's like everybody falls the first time.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I know. I get what you're saying.
So
So after that, he goes home. Hayata confronts Shinjiro about coming home late constantly. And, he's worried about him being in school because I guess he's not doing so well, it seems like.
yeah, well, I mean, from him jumping in the building during the daytime, I think he was skipping school.
Was he skipping school?
I think so, playing hooky.
Okay, okay. It was hard to tell because I think he was with some people before that. It was really hard to say if he went to school or not.
Yeah,
But after that, it's the next day, and Shinjiro is walking home from school, and he sees this girl being harassed by some, we'll call them delinquents.
yeah,
And this part was really funny. Like I busted out laughing at this part
yeah,
where he's with his like friends, I guess, and
yeah,
he's like, no, no. They're like, don't, no, don't. It's not worth it. You're gonna get yourself beat up.
yeah,
And you see him go over there. He's like, stop. Like I command you to stop, or something like that. And he's doing like almost like superhero poses, almost. And they reference at him like, is this guy like some kind of like crime fighter or want to be
yeah.
like super Sentai person or whatever,
Right.
And you're like, get out of here, and he kind of like he's basically kind of like make me basically,
Yeah,
and the one guy comes up to him, he like kicks him, and he kind of like grabs his leg, like to kind of just
yeah.
push
He
him.
twisted a little
He
bit.
like fucks his leg up. His leg is like bent like in so many different directions, and like twist around.
Yeah, it's twisted all the way back.
And I was like, that guy's either gonna have to have some serious rehabilitation, or they're gonna have to cut the fucking leg off.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It was bad.
Everybody's then everybody starts running away from Shinjiro.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, what happened?
you're a freak. Get out of here.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, I couldn't control myself that time."
Yeah,
Which we only see this instant. I kind of wonder how many more instances things like that happen.
that would be interesting to see. Maybe they talk about that later on in the series.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
which we do get to kind of the closer to the end of that chapter
Mhm.
where he runs off and everything, and the guy that crashed the plane actually finds him.
Yeah. Well,
Which is weird. So if you go back to the previous chapter, right at the end,
uh-huh.
they kind of show a shadow of him and where he
Oh yeah,
jumped
they
from
do.
where he jumped from the building.
Yeah.
I guess he left like a little crack when he pushed on it,
Oh yeah, he did.
and he checked it. I just noticed that again. I was like, wait, so he's like stalking him,
Oh
stalking
yeah.
Shinjiro to find him. So
He
It's
is.
kind of weird, like that's how I knew where you were.
Yeah, he's like sitting up on like a sign, he's like really high up on a building, and this guy shows up and he's like, um, basically, yeah, he's like, hey, I was tracking you and stuff, and
Yeah.
he tells him like the power you have doesn't belong to you. This power does not belong to Earth.
Which, I like the whole little spot where him and Shinjiro are talking, and
Yeah.
Shinjiro thinks that he's Ultraman,
Oh
and
yes.
I feel like this happens a lot through the book from what I've read so far, where he's like, "Hey, you're Ultraman, right? Aren't you supposed to be like bigger?"
Well, they say that later on, like, oh yeah, he's talking to him, the bad guy.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
the
and he's
bad
like,
guy? Is the bad guy's name like Bedlam or something like that? It's not Bedlam, is
I
it?
think so. I think it's. I want to say it's like Beamular, but I can't.
Is it Beamular?
I
I
can't
don't know. I was
remember.
thinking of Bedlam. Bedlam's an X-Men character. Never mind.
He might be there. Who knows?
Yeah, he has like some weird kind of name, and he's like, Shinjiro's like, wait, isn't that like who fought Ultraman kind of thing? Like he recognizes the name.
Right. Which, so like, if anybody else doesn't know that, this creature I think was in like the first 3 or 4 episodes of the actual show,
You think so?
and is no, I know so.
Okay.
And if you actually watch that show,
Uh huh.
he's more of a giant spiny lizard.
Okay.
So it's really weird, in the show or in the book, finding out that basically he's shrunk down to be the size of a regular human and kind of hide in plain sight,
Mm-hmm.
and he has like a set of almost Ultraman armor on.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of weird, especially seeing it. I just remember because the costume looks weird if you look it up.
Yeah.
Because it's like the old where they tried to make it look really good,
Mm-hmm.
but it almost looks like they used an old Godzilla suit and added more spines onto it and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he's got these big dead fish eyes, almost like the Leviathan costume in Fortnite, where it's the big fish with the grumpy face.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So as lizard fish guy, oh, I can't remember what his name is,
Bedlam.
but not Bedlam.
It's gonna be Bedlam from now on. Damn it!
Starts to fight Shinjiro because he wants the power that Shinjiro has. While this is happening, a mysterious man in a suit shows up. Turns out it is Hayata, and Hayata reveals to Shinjiro that he is, in fact, Ultraman.
He goes, "I'm your daddy, and I'm Ultraman."
I'm your daddy, and I'm Ultraman. And Shinjiro's like, What? What? You're Ultraman? What? No. Ultraman was a lot bigger. That's actually a running joke in the comic.
Okay, so I found the name. It'll be
Okay.
like in the last chapter, but it is Beamular.
Beamular? Okay.
Yeah, Bemular.
Okay. Beamular. Okay, got it. As
You're gonna be like, you looked at that ahead of time. No, I had to look back in the book. I
as
just remembered.
as OG Ultraman is fighting Beamular.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I feel like we can't even call him OG. I feel like we have to go with the tradition of Logan, and we're gonna have to call him Old Man. Old
Old
Man
Man
Logan.
Ultraman.
Exactly.
Old Man Ultraman, which he's in
Omu.
like an
Omu.
Omu.
Omu. Old Man Ultraman.
So in this universe, since he doesn't have Ultraman is not on Earth. Like the being known as Ultraman is not on Earth. So what the humans had to do is make these exosuits, kind of like Iron Man, and they use them to fight aliens. And that's the suit that Old Man Ultraman is wearing. And to get his son to safety, he throws him up into the air into the direction of a helicopter, which Ida is up there. You have to have some really good precision to throw your son up into a helicopter and
No shit.
hope he does not hit the propellers and take down the whole helicopter.
That's true too.
Right?
That's true too.
Right?
I mean, it does kind of have like a big like trash can thingy on the back of it.
That's true. That's true.
So I mean, maybe.
But when you start thinking about logic, like you have to have some real precision, like
Right? I'd be like, Mr. Hayata, why the hell didn't you try out for baseball? I mean,
yeah.
come on.
So what happens next?
But if he did that, he'd probably start throwing the balls through people's chests. So
That's true. So what happens after Shinjiro gets to the helicopter?
then we go back to the fight with Hayata
Uh-huh.
or Omu and fighting Beamular, trying to take him out.
But Beamular is a lot stronger than Old Man Ultraman. I'm not going to call him Omu.
Omu.
That's just weird. Old Man Ultraman is better.
Omu.
Because old Ultraman is old. He's having a hard time keeping up with Beamular.
Right.
And he's kind of losing the fight. Like he's not able to.
Especially too because like Beamular is an alien.
Yeah.
Which I mean, guys, that's another thing that you just have to think about with this is that half the people are all aliens, and you can't use human logic on it and say, oh well, it's a two-handed fight, because in this Beamular's like chest cavity parts open up. It looks like two ribs come out, and
Yeah.
they're a pair of small hands to attack too. So I mean, you have a bunch of weird like little alien things that get added into it that increases the fight.
True. Yeah. Can I just say, this fight is drawn and plotted very well.
Impeccably.
Like it is really well done.
Indubitably.
Yeah. And so Shinjiro gets to the helicopter. We find Ida. Ida's up there, and he's like, "Hey, look, you have this thing. It's called Ultra Factor. We don't exactly know what it is exactly, but your dad has it, you have it, and I guess Ultraman had it. Right?
Right.
And they have this special kind of suit. It's like a new suit, a new Ultraman suit.
The exo armor.
The exo armor. And he's like...
Which you know what this reminds me of?
What?
This reminds me of that whole part in Iron Man, wherever he actually presented the Iron Spider suit. Like that's what this part reminds me of.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, we have this suit for you. Will you take it?
He's like, as Bimular is destroying like half the city, basically.
Right. The stadium.
Yeah, the stadium that they're in. They're in like a football stadium or soccer stadium or something.
Yeah.
But as this is going on, they're having a whole different conversation. While his dad's life is on the line. Of, hey, will you become the new Ultraman? And he's like, yeah. And he puts on the suit. And he goes and kicks Bimular's butt. What did you think of this?
When he jumped out and attacked him?
Yeah, he jumps out and starts attacking him. And
well, I kind of like the whole part before that.
Uh-huh.
Where Beamular, like you can tell that Omu is like on his left leg. I said it again.
It's not
and he says, don't underestimate a father's strength. And then Beamular like chokes him out and throws him across the field. And he goes, a father? Are you mistaken? The child is not yours. And
I forgot about that. I was like, oh, Jerry. Oh, Mori, you are not the father.
Exactly. Who's the father then?
Yeah.
So, and then he's still got the outfit on, which is, I think, kind of funny. Because looking at the other thing, it almost seems like Tony's like regular like little magnetic suit that he has.
Oh, like the one
Because
from like.
yeah, because he's not like Hayata's not like really wearing like armor. It's just kind of like
I think
a
he's
suit
wearing like one of like the original Ultraman exo armors that they
where
made.
he's wearing some spandex.
I don't know.
Spandex with a breastplate. That's all it is.
Maybe I'm not for sure exactly.
But then we get the whole scene where here it is. Shinjiro has finally jumped out of the plane and is like, "Dad, I'm here to save you."
Yeah, and he uses his special ultra beam. What did they call it?
Hold
It was
on.
called where he puts his forearms together and makes like almost like a T shape, and
Yeah,
he like shoots the ultra beam out of his these like gauntlets on his arms. It's really cool.
yeah. It's little blade pads.
Yeah, they called
I'm
it something specific. It was like the energy to use was something specific.
yeah. Well, he started saying it earlier that I saw where it was speculum,
Speculum, that's what it was.
but I'm trying to find like what it's actually called.
I think it's called like ultra beam.
Probably. I mean, that would make sense. Um, which I mean, I like how it looks because when he's fighting him, it's
Hmm.
like these little like arm blades, which
Yeah.
is another thing that really reminds me of this Ultraman suit being like Batman.
Hmm.
How Batman's got the little like serrated like arm protectors that shoot
Hmm.
out. Kind of reminds me of that because of how this one is.
Yeah. No. No. I totally get what you're saying.
The speculum ray. That's what it's called.
Speculum ray. That's what it's called.
Yeah, yeah,
So our last big chunk of the chapter is really just them fighting Begulum.
yeah.
I almost said Bedlam. And he oh Bel Mular, sorry.
Yeah.
Um
B Mueller.
B Mular, sorry. And he like basically disintegrates like half of B Mular's body. And he's like, you know, just remember this day because I am your first enemy, basically.
Right. Which
And
don't they bring it up that the him shooting that with this kind of prototype soup like actually busted the arms of it or something too?
it drains the energy, I believe,
Yeah.
because he wasn't at full power
Yeah.
because they limit his suit or the power his suit gives off, I guess you could say. It's like a inhibitor,
Yeah.
but the exosuit like enhances his own abilities that he has this with the ultra factor.
Right.
So it makes him
I,
he makes him really fast, agile,
I
strong.
think I think the spectrum ray is the only thing that the suit grants him
Yeah,
because he can't do it without it like the original
yeah,
one could do it.
yeah. It's a lot like Tony's um repulsor rays type of thing.
Yeah, the
Y-
one that comes out of his chest.
Yeah, it's very much like that because he kind of destroys a lot of stuff with that. It's a very powerful energy blast.
Yeah.
Um, and Bimular leaves, and our comic or manga, I guess you could say, ends with Shinjiro fainting, waking up in a hospital, and seeing this weird alien looking guy in a suit. And he's like, we got to talk, basically.
Right.
Like, me, your dad, because his dad is there,
Yeah.
and, you
Which
know,
the other funny thing is with this guy
mhm.
is, and I it might say it in the next book. I can't remember.
He
Or
was a bad guy.
yeah, he was a bad guy before,
Yeah,
which
he
is
was a
like
bad
the
guy.
other weird part. Like
Yeah,
the hell, like
yeah,
you got bad guys helping you now. Like
yeah.
the hell.
Well, I mean, they go into that in the second volume with there was like a truce between like the aliens and the humans
Yeah,
type of situation. So, what did you think of this first volume?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially like the very first time I read it and
Hmm.
everything. I didn't really know that much about
Hmm.
Ultraman or
Yeah.
anything. Like, because the one thing that I did know was, they had like a little Ultraman thing on 4Kids for like a little while.
Did they?
Yeah. So they had that on there, and that's where I knew him from.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of had like a more updated one, but it was still based off of the old style. So they
Okay.
almost tried to rehash it like Godzilla when it came over here
Uh-huh.
and put English over it and stuff, or
Uh-huh.
Super Sentais. And
Yeah.
so that was the first thing I ever knew about Ultraman. This is
Uh-huh.
really cool to actually get to read this and have a bigger impression of it, you
Yeah.
know. So
So, did you feel like this is very new reader friendly?
definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think this one covers on the field a couple different things. I feel like it's good enough for new readers to get into the
Uh-huh.
old Ultraman stuff and be up to date instead of having to
Yeah.
go back. But it also makes it where if you wanted to go back, this would be the
Mhm.
book to start reading as a manga reader or anybody else to actually go back and watch the older series.
Yeah.
You know.
And they also later on they do this like in the second volume and I've only read up to the volume 4, I
Yeah.
believe, but they reference the other Ultramen,
Yeah.
like the other from the other series that aren't necessarily tangentially connected to the original series if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're off shots.
They're like offshoots, but they show up in this as like different, the same Ultramen, but like reimagined, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's some new ones, and then there's some old
Yeah,
ones that
yeah,
spawned out of that.
that's true.
So, which I do think is really cool. I don't know if Ultraman ever fought Kong, but he did fight Godzilla at one point.
Are you talking about Jet Jaguar?
No, Ultraman actually fought Godzilla.
Did he?
Yeah, at one point. I think it was a special thing between them.
Because there was a character made, and that's why I asked if it was Jet Jaguar. Because there was a character made who was made by a kid who was for a competition for Godzilla.
Yeah,
And this kid made like this Super Sentai looking character. He looks he looks very similar to Ultraman,
yeah.
but it's not Ultraman.
No, but that could have been one of the other things that happened too, because like with the movies and stuff like that, they rehash like old costumes.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
So
just I
so
have
they
never
could have
as somebody who knows a lot about Godzilla, I have never seen Godzilla fight Ultraman.
Godzilla. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
I
what I was
think
asking if you were mistaken because the guy looks a lot like Ultraman. Like he's silver and yellow, and
yeah.
I think red and blue. So that's what I was asking.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I'll have to look. I'll have to find a picture and show it to you.
Okay, yeah.
But anyways,
Because that was also another cool thing that I found. Like the actual Beam Ylar costume, like I said earlier,
uh
was actually from an old Godzilla costume, and all they did was
okay,
rehash it. So it's kind of cool finding out things like that too. That they took older costumes and actually crossed them for
mm-hmm.
the different shows.
Okay. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed this manga. I liked it so much. I went and bought like the next 7 volumes.
Yeah,
I thought this was as somebody who I knew of Ultraman and I watched the original series when I was in college, I believe. I watched the original series because they had a re-release of it on DVD, and I bought it on DVD. It was a very cheap, like $5 DVD set.
yeah,
I don't know if they changed the story from the original Japanese, but one thing I do remember about it is um, all the voices were done by the people who did Speed Racer,
yeah,
like the original Speed Racer anime, and it was weird. Like it was weird to hearing like Speed Racer's voice come out of like Ultraman or whatever, you know.
yeah.
But I don't know how faithful the adaptation was to the original series, but I do feel like this is very new reader friendly because I was able to jump into it
Right.
and hit the ground running and get into this new version of Ultraman, because you don't need to necessarily know anything that happened in the original series, because they kind of tell you what happens in
Right.
a very condensed format, but yet it tells a new story for a new generation, but yet still pays homage and respect to the original series that came beforehand.
Yeah.
It doesn't up and change everything, but I do like the fact that, you get these cool exosuits and
Right. Well, I mean, I like the fact that it's taking everything and, because they kind of bring up the whole like growth factor was actually from
yeah,
the original whatever alien thing it
yeah,
was from the first one, just
uh-huh,
like the spectrum ray that it could use.
yeah,
So it's kind of cool that we almost get this weird like Supermanish guy with the
yeah,
strength, at least the strength
yeah,
and the agility,
yeah,
and that they have taken it down instead of being these giant kaiju, fighting across the city and
yeah.
destroying it all the
It's
time.
it's kind of like more personal
Yeah,
and more on the streets, and like it seems to have more of an impact on like their society as a whole, because they kind of have to keep it secret
right.
that
But they like lessen the size of
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
I think the biggest enemy that I've seen, it was like twice as big as Ultraman, but we don't have like
yeah,
that growth factor where they're as big as a Gundam or anything else like
yeah.
that. So
No, true.
so I mean I really like it too. Just that
Yeah.
instead of saying, oh well, this is a building and I'm gonna fall into it or get
Yeah,
thrown
this
through
this
it.
is this is one manga that I think really works well with having two people attached to it, and they both work together on one singular story.
Right? You know what
It's
else? I can think of something else that two people work together on that's really nice.
um is
The
it
Ota- the Otakuology podcast.
oh, I thought you were gonna say like Death Note.
No, no, no. The Otakuology podcast. That's what I
Okay,
was talking about.
okay. But no, I love seeing this interpretation of the old like old the old series, and people get to enjoy it. Like newer generations get to enjoy this. Because I remember I was interested in getting this manga like a few years ago when it was coming out, but I was
Right.
deterred because somebody told me that it wasn't that good. So I was like, I don't know, I might not get it or not. And then they tried to sell it to me, and I was like,
Well,
I
so
don't,
the weird thing is, I remember you and I having a conversation when I first started collecting it,
yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, how is it?" I was like, "Oh, it's fucking awesome."
yeah.
And you're like, "Oh yeah, I might have to pick it up." And then said other person kind of like dissuaded you from it. I was like, "Mike, what are you doing? It's such a good book."
But
So
but now I'm on the bandwagon, and I'm all for Ultraman.
right,
I think it's a really good, fun superhero manga, and it's actually has a real dark side to it as well.
it
Like
does.
like people die in this book. Like there are one thing I actually really like about this is our hero late like in volume 2, he struggles with like killing somebody.
Right.
Um
Well, I
it
mean, I like. You said you got up to volume. What
yeah,
volume?
I'm like right in the middle of volume 5.
Okay, I think it's at the end of volume 5. I like the whole thing where they personified and thrown on the aliens, where
Yeah.
it's not just some random person or whatever. Like
Hmm.
you find out that one alien is the girl on the billboard in book 1,
Yeah.
like her biggest fan. Like
Yeah.
so I really like that aspect. Like aliens are really like absorbing our culture. People are absorbing the aliens' culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you have this whole, oh, I love this person. I want to go see him. But then you kind of have that whole little X factor thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm an alien. If I want to get through this crowd,
Yeah.
let me Hulk out.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
I
go
love
ahead.
it. I
Like
love that
yeah.
part.
No, it's like really interesting cuz like one thing I gravitated towards was the fact that he does have doubts in the beginning of being Ultraman and taking up the mantle of his father took up.
Hmm.
So we get ourselves like a legacy character. He has to live up to these standards of what his father, did.
Right.
And like,
Which, that's another thing that I love too is the fact of they haven't retired their original character.
yeah, he's still
Like
around. He's still doing stuff.
like he comes in. We might have that little mentor moment where the son asks him about stuff throughout
Yeah,
the series, but then there's also parts where you see him. Oh God, I'm an old man, but I'm gonna have to get into this fight with you too, or whatever.
yeah.
And I love how they still included the original idea of it instead of saying, okay, well let's take the first manga, use him for a second and just throw him out of it
No,
altogether.
he's a very much a prominent character in the book.
Right.
Yeah, and later on you see them like um teaming up and working with the science research party, and actually taking on the mantle of Ultraman. One thing I really like is when he starts becoming Ultraman,
Hmm.
and I don't want to spoil too much, but like they people start to like go around calling him like the fake Ultraman
Oh
because
yeah.
he looks different, and the fact that he's not huge, and they keep saying
Right.
he's a cosplayer pretending to be Ultraman
Yeah.
while fighting crime, and they kind of like the research party kind of like tricks him into wanting to be Ultraman,
Yeah.
like wanting to take fully up the mantle because they don't have anybody else at the moment. I use "at the moment" in quotations because there's another person who we will talk about later.
Right. Because right now we just have the two.
Yeah, we just have the two, and there's like a couple of them,
Right.
which I like. I think it's cool when the other Ultramen show up. I've only run
Right.
into like a total of 4, I think.
Yeah. Old man Shinjiro, the samurai guy.
Yeah, and then Jack.
Is that the kid with the robotic arms?
I think so.
Okay, he'll be the fourth one that you actually meet.
Okay.
In wait, in Jack with red, the
Yeah.
the giant? Okay, so you don't even get to see him really until later on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they're work.
I put two and two together, and I was like, oh, he's an Ultraman.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I
yeah.
was
When
like, oh,
when you see his, he's probably one of my favorite designs. When you actually get to see that suit,
is he Ultraman Jack or Ultra Jack?
I don't know.
Because
I
there's a Funko called like Ultra Jack.
because they just call him. I think they just call him Ultraman in this
Okay.
instead of giving him it. Because the only one I know they actually give another name to is Ultraman Taro.
Or what about 7?
So he might be Ultraman Jack.
Because when Ultraman's Ultra 7 shows up, they just call him 7,
I don't
or
know.
by his actual name.
I don't know. I have to look.
He's a samurai guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mushira or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I wholeheartedly recommend if you are looking to get into Super Sentai, Japanese superheroes, this is really good.
I would also recommend if you like Gundams to get into the
Yeah.
series,
Because there are
especially
Ultraman models.
if you're that big of a nerd. Uh, Most of these suits have that much differentiation
Yeah.
that they're freaking amazing.
Oh, another thing that I actually really like about this manga is the little backup comics you get
Yeah,
about the mangaka's creating the Ultraman comic
yeah,
and how much pressure they were like under to like make a good Ultraman comic because they were both really big fans of Ultraman.
yeah.
And I thought that was, I mean, it comes off as funny, but I was like, man, what kind of pressure were they under,
Right for themselves,
Yeah,
like
for themselves, like as fans of the property.
right. Or if they were like, oh man, my grandpa watched Ultraman.
Because
Well, if I make this and I screw up, will my grandfather disown me?
they were like, one of them was like, hey, what if we make a sequel to Ultraman?
Yeah,
And he was like, what, a sequel? And yeah, the other Ultraman never happens.
Yeah, and they're
And
like,
he was like, what?
right? Blasphemy.
And there's this one part where like, hey, when are we gonna give Ultraman his horns? Because one of the Ultraman have like horns,
Yeah,
and like,
Taro.
yeah, and
Yeah,
what was it? And like they start like coming up with the idea. It's really funny because at one point they go to like the Ultraman Studios, I think it is.
yeah,
I think it's like second or third volume, and it's really funny. It's a really funny insight of what they were thinking about and like a comedic spin on like
right.
them making the comic. Um, but yeah, I wholeheartedly recommend this book. It is very well drawn, very well paced. Um, I had like no real like I was never confused reading the book.
Right.
Like it was very new reader friendly, and that's something that I think uh
I
it can be hard, especially
yeah,
coming with like a property so prestige and such with rich history like Ultraman.
right.
You
I
know.
think probably the only thing that anybody would need to know reading this,
Hmm.
and it doesn't matter if you read this first before you do it, or if you look at it first before you read it,
Hmm.
would just probably be kind of looking up that old fight between Bemular and Ultraman. That would probably be honestly the only thing that would give you a leg up on any other reader. But I mean, that's not even that big of a thing
Yeah.
to look at.
Yeah. It like if you know Ultraman, you'll get just as much enjoyment if you don't know Ultraman.
Right.
That's how well this book is paced out and is just hits the ground running. And like we didn't even really touch on the second volume, which the second volume goes into a whole huge grander story.
Stay tuned for volume 2.
But let me ask you a question.
All right.
Since you're a big fan of this, would you check out their other work, which is very similar, which is Getter Robo?
Probably, since I already own stuff from Get a
Do
Robot.
you own all 5 volumes?
I don't own any of that. I just own
Oh,
models.
oh, because it's very similar. Which like the Getter Robo series ties into the original series,
Yeah.
so it's very similar, but it's not 16 volumes like Ultraman. You
Yeah.
know. Anyways, go check this manga out.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. What am I waiting for?
Uh,
What am I waiting for?
I was trying to find the one that they put on 4Kids or whatever.
Oh,
So that one was called Ultraman Tiga. It came out in 1996.
okay. I don't think I watched that one.
So, well, that was it. Just for anybody that
Okay.
may have watched it before as well.
What would you rate just volume 1?
Just volume 1.
Yeah.
Oh man, had to put me on the spot there, didn't you?
How many Ultramans would you rate it?
What are we doing Ultramans out of?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
I would give it a 5 out of 5 as well. I think I don't. I have nothing bad to say about this manga.
Right.
It
I
was good.
I agree.
It was
I
good.
agree. I agree. Just this one in general. The only thing I've ever complained about this was the pacing of it. So
You mean like the pacing, like later on?
yeah, the pacing as the books came out.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing I've ever complained about with the series.
Oh, like it coming out, like taking a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it took them a while to get 16 volumes out. That's
Right.
you know. But hey, I mean, it's good quality. It's a good quality story, which is something we don't always get from manga.
That's true.
Sometimes manga will drop off. You'd be like, oh, this volume was shitty. I'm dropping the volume. I'm dropping this series.
Right.
Opposite,
Especially something that comes from something else.
yeah, which it's already an established property, and sometimes those don't always do well.
Right.
Because either it doesn't, it's just a cash grab, or people are afraid to touch it because it is an established property.
Right.
you know. But I mean, I feel like this is definitely worth the money. Go check this out. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, guys, we've been going on for far too long. If you want to check us out, you can find us on Instagram at Otakuology Podcast. You can find my channel, Otaku Mike, on YouTube. You can find Jin's channel on Jin Graves. You can find Jin on Jin's Infinite Library on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms: Google, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts. We have our merch store at Spread. It's Square. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I'll put it in the link down below.
It's in the description. Just check it out.
I don't remember what the website's called. That's bad of me to remember. But if you would like to email us for any questions, concerns, topics you'd like us to cover, you can email us at otakuologypodcast@gmail.com. All one word. Rate, review, share the podcast, tell your friends. That is the best way to help our podcast grow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Jen, when will they see us next?
Y'all are going to see us next Tuesday.
Yeah. Are we talking? What are we doing next Tuesday?
Ultraman.
Are we doing Arcadia My Youth?
Definitely.
Okay.
One of these Tuesdays coming up.
Okay. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. It is much appreciated. We just hit 1,000 listens for the podcast. That's anything that I never thought we would accomplish. You know, I know Jen's happy about it too.
Definitely, because I knew we'd get there.
But thank you for listening, and we're glad y'all are coming on this podcast journey with us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Be safe and go read some Ultraman because it is that fucking good.